Today we will be learning about how to file handling in Python. That means how to handle various types of files such as uh, your Excel file, your Notepad file, and various other different kind of files that use to store data. Okay. So file handling is a term which is used to describe that term described that how can we store and retrieve data from the files. For example, you have an Excel file or some kind of Notepad file. You have to extract data for your some kind of programming use. So how can you extract that data? Like you don't want to copy paste or you can't copy paste from that file. Then how will you use that data from your for your programming? Okay. So basically, file handling helps in reading and writing data permanently beyond the program execution, which means uh, what you are what records you are inserting using Python or any kind of programming language will be stored in that uh, file and it will be stored permanently there. You don't need to like execute the program again and again to store the same record. That once the record is stored in that file, that will be permanent from there. Okay. So what are the common types of files here, like txt, notepad file, csv, comma separated value files? It's CSV is like in a sense it is like Excel file, but there are some formatting difference between them, and and also there are some JSON files and Excel files, etc. There are various kinds of files, and we will learn about some of them in this lecture. Okay, so first, let's see how can we open and close file in the Python. Okay, so as you can see on the slide, there's a built-in function called open. Okay, which used to open the file, and there are, for example, as you can see in the slide, the file is equal to open sample.txt, which is a notepad file. And after that, there's another thing in a parameter called R, which means for read mode. We need to read the file. For that, R is used. And then subsequent lines, you can see data is equals file.read. And then we will close the file using close function. Okay. And you can also see in the below that there are different types of mode for opening a file, such as read. For read, lowercase r is used. For write, w is used. And function of write is also that whatever if you use write, that is you use write on the file that has already some data, then there's a high chance that w mode can override that existing data. Okay, we will see that in the code. And append means that you need to add data to the already existing data. For example, I have some notepad file there and there is some kind of paragraph written in it. Okay, if that paragraph I need to add something to that paragraph. Okay, so what mode should I use? I can use append mode A. Okay, and then R plus mode. R plus mode is basically read and write. You can use R plus for both if you want to read as well as you need to write. Okay, let's go to the code and see. Okay, for example, I don't have any notepad file with me. Let's just create a notepad file here. Let's just call it sample.txt, and just write hello world. Okay, file is automatically saving. Okay, so we will go to the code. Okay, now as given in the example, you can see file is equals to open.sample.txt in the R. Okay, we will write the same code. File dot equals to open. In this, I will give the name of the file in string. Okay, file name was sample. Okay, sample.txt, comma, we are reading it. Okay, so for reading, we will go R mode. Okay, as you can see in the parameters, there are various kind of modes here. We will be using R for reading. Okay, and then we will call file.read as given in the slide. Okay, and give it a some value like data is equal to file.read, and run this code. Okay. Okay, so code is, and now if we try to go to a variable data. See, here it is. Hello world. It is same as that the text that was written in the notepad file .txt file. Okay, where was yeah. And now what happens is like also have to close the notebook. Okay, otherwise the connection will remain there. If you write something else, the formatting will change or some data may get overwrite. So we have it is a best practice to also close the file. Okay, file for the closing we will use file dot close. Okay, that code has run. That means file is connection to the file has already been closed. Okay, if we want to read or write again, we will again have to rerun this code. Okay, so opening and closing file, as you can see in the we also seen it's a live example using VS Code. Now writing to a text file. Okay, so for the writing, the entire code will be same. Other than that, we instead of R mode, we will use W mode, which is means write, and file dot write. Hello Python learners here. Write is a member function we will which will be using for writing the content in the file. Okay, and we will still again then close the file. And one more thing that W mode does is if the file is not present, suppose instead of while writing code, instead of notes, I say uh, give another file name such as ABC. Okay. If I open abc.txt in W mode, what will happen is it will create a file which is not even present. Okay. It's create a file with the same name so that we can write the data that we are giving it to that file. And if there's a already with the name abc.txt or notes.txt, there's a already existing file there. It will also overwrites the existing content. So you have to like use the W mode with caution. Okay. You need to first and know like if is there a file present or is there any some kind of content that is already in the file. Okay. Let's see in the code file. You also open. I will show you like here two examples. One, I will create the file. Let's just say I have sample.txt. Instead of sample.txt, I will create notes.txt as given in the example and use W mode. Okay. Now, data is equals to file dot write hello Python learners, and I will also insert another line. File dot write. This is a new file. Okay. Now let's run this code. Okay. See, you earlier there was no file called notes.txt, but now there is a note.txt here. Okay. And where was the code? Yeah. So what happened is notes.txt got created instead of, oh, sorry, I think I made a mistake here. Instead of data is equals to, I should just write file. Yeah. Let's see on this code. Okay. So it basically returns the number of characters in the file. We can ignore that. So now notes.txt is there. Earlier there was no file called not notes.txt. Okay. But when we tried writing it in the W mode, the new file called notes.txt is created. And see, there is a hello Python learners. This is a new file. Okay. What happens is why it's in the same line without any space. For that you have to give some new line characters there. We will learn about that in the I guess in the future lectures, or if I have the time I will try to squeeze in this lecture too. Okay. And so new with W mode, as I was saying, new file is created if there is not any file, and the data is inside the file. It's like putting a records in the file. Okay. Now, where was the yeah? Instead of this, we have already a sample.txt we created in the earlier code. Okay. Now, if I use okay, first of all, let me close this connection. Okay. Now, I will use the same variable file. Instead of going to opening notes.txt, I will open already existing file sample.txt. Okay. In W mode. And here I will write file dot write uh, let's just say opening an existing file. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. It's just a number. Let's go to the sample.txt file. Uh, in yeah, sample.txt. I think it should be written here. Is this some kind of spelling mistake? So see, what happens is in the sample, where was the code? Yeah. Earlier it was when we trying to read the sample, we have the data called hello world. Okay. Now when we tried when we open the file in W mode, there is no hello world. Okay. What happened? The existing file existing content that was in the file got overwritten. Okay. So that the thing you need to keep in mind that you don't need you can override the data by mistake. Okay. So let's just close the connection here. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So as you have already seen, if we try to create a W, write the file in W mode, it can also override the existing content or write the data in the new file. See? So okay. Reading from the text file. We have already done the reading from the text file, like user mode R, file.read, print content, and then file.close. Okay. Now there's also another type of uh, functions you can say instead of read, you can also use read line. Okay. What it does is reads a one line in the code. Basically, if there is a text file with some paragraph, like there are 5 to 6 lines there. Okay. Then what happens is if you use the read line, it will show you the first line of the paragraph. Okay. You can try it while practicing this code and sell as well as read lines. Reads all the lines into a list. Okay. So it will create a list which contains the all the lines in a code. For example, let's say if we have paragraph of 7 to 8 lines, okay, then what will happen if you use file dot read lines instead of file dot read? It will return a list which contains all the lines that is in the paragraph or in the file. Okay, you can take a sample text file of your own making and then practice these functions on that. Okay, so so what happened now? If we use open dot with statement, as you can see in the slide, what happens? With open notes.txt are as file. As you can already see in the code, there's a code written there. And what happens is with open notes.txt r means read mode as file. Okay, data.file is equal. Oh, sorry, data is equal to file.read. You can see the code as run, and it will return hello world as uh, it was a content in the file. Okay. So what is the use of with statement? Why we use with statement? With statement take care of the closing of the file. Like earlier that we were using like every time we used to write or read something, after that we need to specifically write the file dot close there to close the connection from the file. Okay. With, if we use with keyword, the we don't have to take care of the file closing. It will automatically close. Okay. And it also helps in cleaner syntax and automatically, as I was saying, automatically closes the file block after execution. Okay. So let's see if we can use it in the code. Okay. With open nodes dot, oh, actually it's saying nodes dot txt comma r. What was in the exam slide? Yeah, data view. File dot read. Now if we use print data. Okay. I operation on closed file. Okay, what's the problem here? Oh, I forgot to use as file. Okay. So it was giving an error. There is no file variable called filed. Okay. Now see. See. Hello Python learners. This is a new line. As we have inserted the nodes.txt. Hello Python learners. This is a new line. So now I don't need to use file dot close here because the with statement, this statement has already taken care of the closing of the file also. So there is no use for in writing that. Okay. So if you like, if you want to, don't need to, or lazy enough to lazy enough that you don't need to, like, I don't want to write file dot close again and again. You can use this with statement and then read and write data whatever you want, and you then just execute a program and here it is. Okay. Now instead of txt file, now we will start with the CSV file. Okay. What are the CSV file? Comma separate file. Basically, all your tabular data like spreadsheets uh, is called CSV file. Okay. It basically stores the data in tabular form. For example, you have records. In that records, you have something, let's say, student details. Okay. Then you have name, you have class, you have roll number, as well as some kind of marks in a, we can say, let's just say three fields: name, roll number, and class. Okay. So three columns, and then the data is distributed in these three columns, which is like tabular representation. So that is CSV file. Okay. So for Python, it provides a CSV module to work with, like it's a CSV library or module that can operate CSV files in a Python code. Okay. We will see the example in the next slide. Okay. So how to read a CSV file? It's a similar as we were doing the TXT file. It's just that we have to import a module called named CSV with open, as you can see, students or csv.r reader is equal to csv.reader file. So it's basically the same. Just the difference is that this time we have to use a inner loop inside, or loop inside the reader, inside the which statement to print a separate row. Okay. Let's just see in the code. Okay. Now I have already have a CSV file here called hard.csv. It's basically a details of a person related to whether he has heart disease or not. So with open, I will use heart.csv, comma in read mode as file. mm, Data is equals to file dot read. Oh, I have to import the CSV module to import CSV. Okay. As given an example, okay, I have to do csv.reader file, not file.read. Open CSV. Yeah, reader is equal to csv.reader file. We have to import CSV. Okay. Data is equal to uh, csv.reader uh, file, and for I in data, or you can say row in data, print row. Okay, let's see. See, it has printed all the records. First record is that column headings: age, sex, chest pain, rating, cholesterol, fastings, and you can see all the records are in the form of list and they're printed here. Okay, so that's how we can print or read the CSV file in the Python. Okay, I know like it's like very cumbersome or tiresome to look at. We can work upon that in the future lectures. You will learn about how to operate on CSV files in the future lecture. Okay, so we have done how to read a CSV file. Now writing into the CSV file. Okay, now writing is the same in the CSV file like as you were doing the write mode in TXT file. Okay, so here we also trying to import CSV data as you have already seen the slide. There's a name. Uh, yeah, name, age, Aman, 21, P and 22. Okay, so name and age are the columns. First entry will be of columns like what does this data represent, and then using will statement we will try to, instead of this time reader, instead of reader we will be using writer. Okay, writer dot write rows data. Okay, and then what happens, like you can see it already automatically adds commas. Okay, you no need to like add or the file data will not come like uh, what what we used to say like concatenated as we were seeing the text file. Okay, so let's just say use this example in the code for the better understanding. Data equals to name comma age. These are the columns. Okay, now here it is our first entry, and here it is our second entry. Now with open students dot csv as file record, I will say record here, csv dot writer data. Okay, now what, for example, yeah, as you can see writer is equals to, here instead of writer I take the record. Now writer dot file, so yeah, I take data here. So csv writer, you can also like, just to find the meaning, you can say like writer in writer, which file we have to write this. Okay, so here we will the parameter file, which is a file student or csv. Okay, now what was the example, writer dot, or I should say record dot write rows data. Okay, I think I have missed something here. Yeah, W mode. Okay, W mode and new line. Yeah, let's see what happens. See, the code has run. That means the record is already in the rows. Okay. So, as you can see, there should be a student of CSV. Yeah, here it is. See, we have inserted the record. Okay. So, yeah, one more thing. Like earlier, I was just practicing code and I already created a student of CSV. So, there was some kind of data here which got overwritten. So, the same as the TXT file that we were writing W mode in TXT file, the existing data may get uh, overwritten. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. In every file, W mode means data will get overwritten if you try to just use the mode and rewrite the data. So to prevent that, where's the file in the CSV? If I use a text file, I bet you should use a mode append mode. But in the CSV, there is called new line here. It means that the writing will start from the new line. So your existing data may not be affected. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So we have reached the end of the assignment, end of the lecture. So your assignment is read a ESV file and print its first 5 lines. Okay. So we have already seen how to read the data from the CSV file here. All you have to do is uh, instead of printing all the records of file, you have to just print first 5 records. Okay. You can easily think with a for loop and you can easily print those files. Okay. So that's it for today. Any doubts or anything you want to ask?
You with?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So today was the last lecture in the basic Python, and then we'll now start with the data analytics, and then the later part of this course series will have the data visualization. So starting next week, we'll go into the advanced Python that will help you build the foundation in the data analytics. Make sure that you are submitting your assignment well in time and practicing enough. Whatever you practice until today's lecture will be used in the future lectures, because now you know the basics, how to operate with the file, you know what all functions that you can use. Starting next week, you will learn about the specific libraries that are used in the data analytics, and we'll also cover the basics of data analytics, using which you will be able to do the basic data analytics to start with. And as you learn more, you will learn how the data analytics on large data, complex analysis, how all those things can be done. This is the foundation. Make sure your foundation is strong enough so that you are able to do fantastic work when you learn the data analytics as well. Same goes for the data visualization. If your foundation is strong and you know how to perform the analysis, you can come out with the fantastic visualization, which a typical data analytics engineer would be able to do. And if you are really strong, you can go on to the path of the data scientist and all other things as well. So if you have any doubts, you can ask during the session or use the WhatsApp channel to post your queries. Yesterday, Harsh, you sent the message that you are not able to join the session. Yesterday's session, there was a little challenge. Although the recording is done, the voice was not there. So we'll try to re-record yesterday's session for the benefit of those who were not able to join. But make it a practice that you are able to join all the sessions in person. Watching the recording is not same as attending in person. So see that you are able to join all the sessions every time.
Okay, sir. Sir, what is data visualization?
Data visualization is once you do the analysis, how do you show it in a pictorial form by the way of graphs or some kind of visualization. You can create the infographics out of it. So idea is not every time the idea is conveyed by looking at the numbers. I mean, once you do the analysis, you can show some numbers that this is the median, this is the mean, this is how the data is there, what are the top 10 things, what are the lowest 10 things, or you can have the graph. Uh, but then, data would not speak itself, but when you present it in the form of graphs and charts, the idea is conveyed very strongly. And a very quick example, if we were to compare the GDP of all the countries in the globe, if I give you the numbers, you would not be able to make out much out of it. But if I put out as a pie chart, you will be able to see who has the highest GDP. And then you would also see where the GDP of India lies. So key messages are conveyed through charts and graphs. And how do you create it? And all of these charts and graphs are usually based on the aggregation of the large data. So how do you consume that large data, make it, summarize it, or have the key elements extracted out of it? And how do you show it in the form of a chart or a graph and convey the message through that thing? So a role of a data engineer or the data analytics engineer is to extract the meaning out of the large data, the huge amount of data. So you will see how you get the power in your hand as you learn Python and all other things, and you will be able to extract a lot of insights out of it.
Okay, sir. Sir, what was the topic of yesterday's session?
Yesterday's session was exception handling. What if there is an error into the program? How do you ensure your program still continues? And do not ignore the errors, but take some action based upon how you want your program to perform. So that is the exception handling. I'll publish the PPT, and we'll try to recreate the recording of yesterday's session.
Oh,
Please be patient. It might take 1 or 2 days before we are able to share that. But that is also an important piece, and it's a very important piece in the programming world. How do you ensure when the user is using your program does not feel frustrated, oh, the program has crashed? Rather, the program should convey there is some error and it should continue. Just imagine if you were to, log on to your Instagram and it says it does not load, you will get frustrated. But if you get a message, oh, we are working on some issue, and you can log in 1 hour or after one day, you would feel a little less frustrated that Instagram is not working. So it's all about the user experience. How do you design your user experience and handle the errors in the program? So
okay.
that was the topic. Yuvik, Harsh, you have any more questions? If not, then we'll close today's session, and we'll meet next week with data analytics. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Shiv, you want to say anything, or shall we close?
Yes, so we can close.
Okay, all right. Thank you, and we'll meet next week. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye.